The Art of Super-Realization by Swami Yogananda. Initiation. Invocation. O Heavenly Father, Jesus, Prophet of my religion, free my spiritual path from all difficulties and lead me to the shores of eternal wisdom and bliss. Posture and preparation necessary to the correct methods of practicing the exercise given in this lesson on the great art of super-realization. Preparation. 1. Face east, sitting on a straight, armless chair, over which a woolen blanket has been placed running down under the feet. 2. Take a teaspoon of melted butter, unsalted or olive oil. This is to grease the throat. The butter or oil should not be swallowed quickly. Sip it slowly. It is extremely important to observe this rule, as the throat must be well greased. There should be no deviation from any of the methods given in this lesson. There are few rules. Obey them strictly. Posture. Correct posture. Spine erect, shoulder blades together, palms upward, resting on thighs. Chest out, abdomen in, chin parallel to the ground. Relax whole body, keeping spine straight. The correct posture is extremely important. It will be almost altogether ineffectual to perform this exercise with a bent spine. With spine erect, relax all muscles and limbs. During the practice of this lesson, the spine often bends forward unconsciously through bad habits. Straighten it as often as it bends to gain the desired results. After the correct posture has been attained and all muscles and limbs are relaxed, practice the following exercise called Kriya for magnetizing the spine. The first part of Kriya, or Kriya proper, teaches the method of mentally feeling the spine by passing or circulating life current lengthwise around it. The purpose of Kriya is to magnetize the spine by circulating life current lengthwise around it, and thereby withdrawing life current from the senses and involuntary organs and concentrating it in the spine. This also helps to change the center of consciousness from the body and the senses to the spine. The spinal column should be imagined as hollow when circulating the breath and life current lengthwise in and around it. Method. With half-opened eyes fixed at the will center, the point between the eyebrows, concentrated on the whole spinal column, and imagine it to be a hollow tube running from the point between the eyebrows to the coccyx. 2. Inhale, feeling the breath pass through the inside of this imaginary hollow spinal canal, with the sound of ha, made by the expanded throat, thinking and feeling a cool breath and a current starting from the coccyx at the terminal of the spine, moving up until it reaches the top of the tube, imagined as running up the point between the eyebrows. The duration of inhalation with the thought of pulling the breath and current upwards must be 10 to 15 counts. When the current and breath have reached the top of the spinal tube, the point between the eyebrows, slowly exhale, sending the breath and current over the forehead, through the cerebrum and on down the back of the spinal column to the coccyx. While exhaling, the current breath must be felt as a fine, thread-like, tepid, slightly warm, stream slowly going down over the spine downward to the coccyx. As you exhale, imagine the current to flow downward over the back of the spine. Make the sound of E with the breath. When you inhale and exhale continuously, you quickly convert the oxygen into life force, especially recharging lungs and blood, focusing the vision and the will at the point between the eyebrows, and imagining the circulation of the current and breath in and around the spine, will create a positive and negative pole and bring about the actual circulation of this current. The will center becomes the positive pole, and the coccygeal plexus becomes a negative pole. The current thus created becomes a magnet of energy, which draws more energy from the nervous system and from the cosmic source. By this method, the adept is enabled to project this energy from medulla into cosmic energy. It is then that this energy in the body loses its limitations and becomes identified with cosmic energy. This is what is meant by pranayama, or control of life force in spine and heart and nervous system, which results in breathlessness and the calming down of heart and lungs. It is then that the life force, which is dependent on oxygen, loses its breath slavery and moves spiritward. Many think that the control of life force means control of breath. That is wrong. The real meaning of pranayama, according to Patanjali, the founder of yoga philosophy, is the gradual cessation of breathing, the discontinuance of inhalation and exhalation. Trying to control the life force by holding the breath in the lungs is extremely unscientific. While inhaling and exhaling, imagine that the breath during inhalation is going upward from the coccyx to the point between the eyebrows, and during exhalation, imagine that it is moving downward over the back of the spinal column. The breath actually does not circulate around the whole length of the spine, but the increased life force derived from the transmuted breath is directed by will and visualization to circulate lengthwise, within and without, through the inner and over the outer side of the spinal column continuously during Kriya. This converts the entire spine into a magnet, which draws all the bodily current away from the sense and nerves. The 5 telephones of the senses, touch, taste, smell, hearing, and sight, are thus disconnected, and the attention feed from the invasion of the senses. This is also the greatest psychophysical method for actually reversing the searchlights of life force, consciousness, and the senses from matter to spirit. Drawing up and feeling a cool current and the breath within the inside of the spine, feeling a cool current from the coccyx to the point between the eyebrows, and spraying the current and breath as tepid over the back of the spinal tube, from the point between the eyebrows down to the coccyx, is equal to 1 complete Kriya exercise. This exercise should be performed from 1 to 14 times in immediate succession, morning and evening. Remember, there are 2 indications of the correct practice of Kriya. 1. During inhalation, the upward floating breath and current should produce a cool sensation throughout the entire length of the imaginary hollow in the spinal column, from the coccyx to the point between the eyebrows. The inhalation must be accompanied throughout by the deep sound of ha, H-A-U, made by the expanded throat. During exhalation, the downward floating breath and current should be felt as a tepid, fine, thread-like sensation, accompanied by the sound of E, made by the expanded throat. Do not jerk the chest by moving it up and down with inhalation and exhalation while practicing the Kriya. Always keep the throat expanded during this exercise. The expansion should be like that experienced in rolling the tongue backward toward the uvula. You may practice Kriya with an expanded throat by rolling the tongue backward. Drawing the breath and current upward must be accompanied by a deep, full sound of ha, made by the throat. Likewise, in sending the current downward over the spinal column, it must be fine, thread-like, and tepid. The exhalation must be accompanied by the sound of E, made by the throat. The repetition of Kriya 12 to 14 times equal 1 year's natural evolution and development of body, mind, and soul. The life current quickly spiritualizes the spine and brain, which in turn spiritualizes the whole body.